Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Israel Delgado. I work for the Office of Admissions at Fairleigh Dickenson University, but my job there is, I want to say, it's a privilege that I only recruit Latino students for our Latino Promise program and our Hacer Bilingual program. So for me, being a Latino myself and being able to share my story, my expertise with the high school juniors and seniors and the high school students in general. To me, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to do that. I've been doing this already for 5 years. I've been with Fairleigh Dickinson for 16 years. I just got it on my LinkedIn, happy 16th anniversary at FDU and 5 years as a recruiter. So it's something that, again, is a privilege. Fairleigh Dickinson University was recognized by the federal government as a Hispanic Serving Institute, and we were very proud to have reached that accomplishment because it was something that we worked on for many years to accomplish so that we can be recognized and be given the Fulbright honor. Also in 2022, Latino Promise Program and Hacer were also recognized by the federal government as a sample of excelencia. If you're not familiar with it, this recognition is a competition that all universities with Latino Promise students participate, or rather with Latino students participate. And of course, we were able to beat out other universities. So we got the recognition along with a university in Ohio and another university in Puerto Rico. We also got recognition by U.S. News and World Report. 4 of our programs were recognized, business programs, engineering, psychology, and nursing. We also got recognition as a best value school, and one of the reasons for that is because of our low tuition, plus all of the money in scholarships and grants that we give to all of our students. Something that I will be discussing in a few seconds is that all of our Latino Promise students get an $18,000 grant. We like to call it a scholarship because it sounds better. Our Latino Promise and Hacer students get $18,682 as a scholarship, which is a 50% discount off tuition, which is a lot of money. And if the student are eligible for full FAFSA and full TAG or the HISA from the state of New Jersey, then of course they may end up going to school paying absolutely nothing and avoiding loans. Fairleigh Dickinson University has 2 campuses in New Jersey, one in Teaneck and one in Madison, New Jersey. Both are about 45 minutes apart from each other. And both campuses are beautiful. The Teaneck campus is about 10 minutes away from New York if you drive. There are also direct public transportation that go right from Teaneck and Hackensack. The Teaneck campus is actually in 2 cities, separated by a river, as you can see on the picture. There is a bridge that the students cross on a daily basis to go from Hackensack to Teaneck, depending on where their classes are being held. So there is direct transportation from Teaneck or Hackensack into New York City. And the students can go there, at any time that they want. As you know, New York City is a city that never sleeps. Madison is about a good 45 minutes from Teaneck. There is also direct transportation from Madison into New York City. There is a train that stops right behind the university in Madison, and the students can just catch the New Jersey Transit train right from Madison Morristown directly into New York City or into Hoboken and then go into New York. We also have 2 campuses out of the country, one in England and one in Canada. Our students can opt to visit one of those 2 countries and participate. It's not going to cost them any more. Basically, the financial aid gets transferred from here to there. All the student has to do is pay for their plane ticket to get there. The building on the left used to be a castle at one time, and that is where the students will dorm during the duration of their visit to England. And then we have the campus in Canada, okay, as well. In both New Jersey campuses, we have over 7,000 students. Our classes are very small. And one of the things that I emphasize to our students, especially our Latino students who tend to be a little bit very aloof, towards their professors in university, is that one of the things that they need to do is they need to get to know their professor at a personal level. With their high school teachers and a college professor or university professor, it's a whole different relationship. In my opinion, I think that a college professor can do more for you than a high school teacher can, as far as preparing you for after university. One of the things that I tell the students is get to know your professors. For example, if you say to me, "Hey, Israel, do you have biology at Fairleigh Dickenson University?" My response is going to be yes. "Oh, what do I need to study?" My response, "Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about biology." But your professors, they know better than I do and what you need to study when you start college. And because a lot of the professors, they work inside and outside of the university, they can tell you what you should study and that will make you more marketable once you start looking for employment. On top of that, if you become good friends with your professors, they can give you letters of recommendation. A lot of them have connections inside and outside that can help you find employment after you graduate from university. The students can live on campus if they so choose. One of the things that I always emphasize, especially with our Latino students, they always believe that certain things are free. And I tell them not everything in life is free except air. Um, so I tell the students all the time, don't make the mistake of thinking that staying in the dorms is free. It is not. Second mistake, don't make the second mistake of thinking that financial aid covers for dorming. It doesn't. And a lot of students, they're never told these things, especially our Latino population. They're never told these things, that they need to understand that you will pay for dorming, that it is not for free, and that financial aid does not cover it. And I have had circumstances where students have, well, I always thought that financial aid, and I always tell the students, when you go to college, you cannot think, you have to know. All right. You need to know, before you set foot into that university, about how much it is going to cost you, etc. We also have a lot of activities at the universities, and one of the things that I emphasize with the students is that they're going to college for 4 reasons: study, prepare, network, and socialize. Very important words: study, prepare, network, and socialize. For example, I want to study marketing. So I want to do something inside and outside of the university that's going to give me some preparation and some experience. So when I do graduate, I will graduate with some experience. When I do the studying, which is my theory and my preparation, okay, which will be my experience, I'm going to be networking. So I'm going to be meeting people who already work in that field. And guess what? Those will be my connections when I graduate, because how do we all, how do students most of the times get a job at McDonald's or Burger King or Kentucky Fried Chicken? When I ask, "Hey, how did you get the job in McDonald's?" "My cousin works there. My friend works there." That's networking. And that's what I try to explain to them. That's what you're going to be doing when you start looking for a job. But you need to start your networking while you're still in school in college. And then socializing. The more people you know and the more people know you, the better you are. But if you go to college just to be a hermit, you're going to graduate, but you're not going to get a job because nobody knows that you exist. So I emphasize those 4 words to the students every semester, every day, to our students in Latino Promise and Hacer. Then we also have athletics. Our TNEC campus is Division 1. And I always tell the students that in Division One, a lot of students just think that you can just go and say, "Hey, I know how to play basketball," and it doesn't work like that. As you know, Division One is an entire process that should have begun 3 years, in your sophomore year in high school. And if you waited until your senior year to want to play sports in Division One, that door is pretty much closed. Whereas in Division Three, it doesn't matter. You can participate in sports in Division Three, which is our other campus. Now, why did we create this program, Latino Promise and Hacer? Because I have found that the students have they make 4 mistakes that set them up to fail before they even start school. So I tell the students, you apply to college today, you get accepted into college today, etc., etc., etc. But by December of that semester, you will have failed and you don't even know that you are on the road to failure because of the 4 mistakes. And I have found this so much within our Latino students. What are the 4 mistakes? Number one, the students apply to college, but they never visit the college and don't know how they're going to get to the university. So I always emphasize to the students, you need to visit the university because you might think that you're going to get to that university, taking 2 or 3 buses. And at the beginning, it is going to be exciting, but when it gets dark and cold, it is going to be exciting no more. So it is important that the students visit the universities. For example, I had a student that lives in Bergenfield, New Jersey. Our campus is 10 minutes away, but she decided to go to a university that was farther away. So when she called me, she wanted to transfer to FDU and be part of Latino Promise. I asked her why. Oh, because that university is too far from my house. So my response to her was, but when did you figure that out? You knew that when you were a senior in high school. You knew how far that university was in comparison. So now it's a problem. So guess what? December came, she did not return to Felician University. And she did not come to FDU because it would have taken for her, the process of admissions is a little longer than what she thought. So she didn't think about that. The third issue that the students have is they want to study something, but they don't know why they're going to study it. For example, oh, I want to study nursing, a student says to me. Why? I ask. Oh, because I like to help people. So my response is, but who else are you going to help? Nurses work with doctors, they're people. They work with patients, they're people. Even the person that cleans the floor, they're people. So that's not a good, valid reason, in my opinion, for you to want to study nursing. I tell them, I don't want to discourage you. I just want you to be better prepared. You need to sit down and investigate, okay? Do your research as to what does it take to study to be to be a nurse, because nursing is a very difficult career to study for. I always tell the students, if you want to study nursing, you got to study, but you cannot have a job because this is school, study, school, study. Another student, I want to be an architect. Why? Oh, because I like buildings. Well, me too, but that's not a good reason for me to become an architect. So there's got to be, I always tell the students, sit down and do your research. Because I like that, it's not a very good reason. And what's going to happen is you're going to find out how difficult it is, especially the engineering and nursing field, and you're going to set yourself up to fail because you didn't prepare yourself for that. And lastly, the students never ask the universities how much they cost. So they assume that financial aid is going to cover everything, and then they get that bill that they have to pay five, six, $7,000, and then, oh, but I thought financial aid covers everything. Well, once again, I always tell the students, you need to know your numbers. Okay. So I always tell the students, whenever any university goes to your high school to speak to you, they're going to tell you anything and everything about that university. At the end, when they ask you, do you have any questions? Your first question should be, hey, love everything that you said. I think your university sounds absolutely marvelous, but how much does it cost? Because in reality, what we're doing is we're selling you something. So if I try to bring it down to their level. If I'm selling you something, what is your first question? How much? That should be your first question. If I say, hey, I have my cell phone over here. I don't want it. I want to sell it to you. Your first question should be, well, how much are you selling it for? That's your first question. And a lot of students never ask that question. And one of the things that I do is I always challenge the students. Oh, I'm going to go to such and such a university. Oh, how much does it cost? Oh, I don't know. But you need to find that out. Oh, I think that no, you cannot tell me you cannot tell me what you think. You need to tell me how much does it cost? And I really don't need to know how much it costs. You need to know how much it costs. So, what do I do in the process? I basically give a lot of support to the students so that A, they don't make those four mistakes. Once a student applies, I stay in contact with them. The first thing that I do is when I get their application, I send them a message. Kathleen, I have your application. Please be on the alert for our decision. Then once I review and process your application, Kathleen, I will send you a text message and an email. I get ahead of the university. Before the university sends you your acceptance letter, I will have informed you that you have been admitted to the university and to confirm the message so that way I know that you received it. So I will tell you, hey, Kathleen, congratulations, you have been admitted. We're giving you this much money. Welcome to La Familia. So now you already know that you have been admitted. You already know how much money you are going to be getting. At the same time, I will help you to complete your FAFSA and your HISA, and I will explain everything that you need to be on the lookout for. Why did I start doing that? Because I have found that a lot of high school counselors were helping the students with the FAFSA and HISA, and then they said to the students, okay, you're done. You're not done with FAFSA and HISA until you start college. And the students never looked at their FAFSA or HISA. They started college and they had financial aid issues. But because they never looked, because they were told that it was already completed, they never knew that they had issues. So what do? I help the students with the FAFSA. I tell them this is what you need to look out for. I help them out with the HISA, and this is what you need to do with the HISA. So that way they will have a smooth transition with the admissions process and the financial aid process. So based on everything that I just finished saying, I'm going to be giving the students a very personal service. I send a message most time every week to the students. Pay attention to this. Pay attention to that. Do you need anything from me? I always emphasize to the students, as I mentioned to them before, get to know your professors. I make a promise because, again, as I mentioned earlier, this for me is a privilege and an honor. So I tell the students, if you give me, if you let me go back, if you give FDU, if you give Latino Promise, and if you give me the opportunity of joining our program, I promise you that I will make sure that you have a smooth transition from high school to college to graduation so that you do not have any problems. And I also tell them we are affordable, which I will show in a minute. Our program, Latino Promise, is a 2-year program in a 4-year university. So the students will study toward an Associates of Arts or an Associates of Science. They will take 60 credits. And then once they finish, they will finish their last 2 years towards their bachelor's degree. The great thing about our program is that the students are able to participate in our graduation to receive their associate's degree. We encourage them to do that because a lot of times the students believe that they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it. But with our support, we tell them that they are, that they are. And then we encourage them to attend the graduation and participate and get their associate's degree at the graduation because it emphasizes what we promised them. You look at where you were and look at where you are now. Now you need to continue towards your bachelor's degree. Now let's talk about the money. So our tuition is $37,364, and with fees, it's about $39,565. Out of the $37,000, all of the students, the minute they apply, they get $18,682. That's a 50% discount from the $37,000. That's a lot of money, if you ask me, okay, out of the tuition. If the students are eligible, they will receive $7,395, and also, if they're eligible, the $1,000 from FAFSA. And then the $14,000 from HISA, which is a tuition aid grant. When you add those numbers, that's $40,000. That means that the students have an overage. They do not have a balance. One of the things that I always tell the students is, you will not commit, you will not pay your deposit into FDU and Latino Promise until you know your financial aid. I will call the student and I will say, Kathleen, I have your financial aid in my system. This is how it is. And I will read out the numbers to the students and I will tell them, you have a balance. That means you have to pay something or you can get a student loan or you have an overage. You're going to pay nothing to go to college. But the students, before they set foot onto our university campus, will know this information. I will not, and this I do this because for me it's personal. I will not allow the students to set foot on the university campus unless they know if they have to pay something or if they have to pay nothing. I will not allow for that. We also try to help out the undocumented students. We give them the $18,000. They cannot apply for FAFSA. They could be eligible for the tuition aid grant. And of course, in order for them to be eligible for that, the parents should have filed taxes 2 years prior. They should have attended a New Jersey high school at least 3 years. They should be in the process of becoming a resident or a citizen, and the parents have to reside in New Jersey. I also tell the students that if they do not live with somebody who is not their parent, whomever they live with, the uncle, aunt, or whomever, they must have the guardianship, not the custody, but the guardianship. So again, I like to be upfront. I like to be honest with the students because I don't want them to start a process that they know they cannot get. So I like to let them know, yes, you can start school or you're going to have a problem. I let them know all of that information before they even start school because the last thing I want to see is a 17, 18, 19-year-old get stuck with a, I don't know, 10, 15, $20,000 bill, okay, because they were not properly informed. And that is my presentation. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't see any questions in the chat, so I would just like to thank you, Mr. Delgado, because this was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate your concern for high school students to make sure that they're able to pay for college. That's really an important aspect of this, and your concern for the students who apply is really remarkable. So thank you for joining us today. Um, and we will be posting this video on our website so that if you receive a message from someone, know that your PowerPoint presentation will be there too, so they'll be able to access it and get in
Absolutely.
touch with you at any time.
Sure.
So NJTESOL, NJBE, and myself, thank you so much for joining us this
Thank you
morning.
so much. I guess I leave now.
You can. You can. I'm
Okay.
going to stop the recording. So.